SPM format baru buat pertama kalinya.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all officers from Sarawak State Education Department, officers from Kuching District Education Office, teachers, parents, and students. I am Cikgu Felix Chua Sing Ting, SIC Plus from PPD Kuching. Welcome to seminar Kecemerlangan Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Sarawak tahun 2021. The topic of this webinar is BENGKEL Pembugaran Kecemerlangan Matematik SPM 2021. We would like to extend our appreciation to all for giving your full support, especially to the students who are attending this program. Your participation is very much appreciated. Sarawak State Education Department with Kuching District Education Office have specially and exclusively prepared this session for all the SPM mathematics teachers and students. We hope by the end of the program, you will gain new knowledge to better prepare yourself for your upcoming SPM examination for mathematics paper. For this session, we are very proud and delighted to have Cikgu Kong Sien Chua from SM Teknik Sejingkat Kuching to conduct the session. Cikgu Kong Sien Chua has 19 years experience in teaching. She is a Guru Cemerlang for mathematics. She has received recognition as a Guru Cemerlang in year 2009, year 2015, and most recently this year, 2021. These are tremendous achievements as an educator. Indeed, truly a Guru Cemerlang. Besides that, she has been awarded Anugerah Perkhidmatan Cemerlang, APC, in 2007 and 2016. She has made many contributions to the education field, especially in Sarawak. There are too many incredible contributions from her, so I will just name a few of them. She has been a master trainer for kangaroo mathematics and an excellent speaker for Cats Talk organized by PPD Kuching on the topic of Guru Aspirasi Cabaran Pendidikan dalam Norma Baharu tahun 2021. She is not only excellent in teaching, but also an innovator of educational innovation. She has participated in teaching innovation competition such as Anugerah Guru Inovatif in conjunction with Teachers' Day celebration in 2015 and won the champion trophy with a project entitled EZY. And second runner up in Pertandingan Inovasi Peringkat Zon Sarawak Teaching Innovation category. Most recently, she has also participated in Educational Innovation Competition 2020, organized by Kuching District Education Office, and grabbed the silver medal with the project entitled Magic Paper. Teachers who are interested to know more about her teaching innovation can feel free to get in touch with Cikgu Kong. She is very friendly and approachable. Before we start, I would like to remind all attendees regarding these two things. First, attendance for teachers and students will be taken at the end of the session. Second, if you have any questions, you can post the questions in the chat column on the YouTube channel. Your question will be answered during the questions and answers session before we end this webinar. Without much delay, I would like to pass the session over to our esteemed speaker, an excellent teacher, Cikgu Kong Sen Chua. I present to you Cikgu Kong Sen Chua.
Moderator, Mr. Felix. Congratulations and my biggest gratitude to JPN Sarawak and PPD Kuching for organizing this workshop. Good afternoon and a great big welcome to everyone. In my workshop today, I was asked to present a new format for the SPM examination 2021 and the technique of interpreting higher order thinking skills. All right, let's start with our workshop. Okay, first of all, if you have any questions, please on the microphone and ask me directly, or you are invited to send me your question in the chat column. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the table of contents. Okay, now this is the table of contents within 2 hours. Okay, firstly, I will explain the new SPM 2021 format. Secondly, I will interpret hot questions item and explain the technique of answering higher order thinking skill questions in the last part Q&A session. As all of us know, for mathematics KSSM SPM 2021, 50% of the questions are hot questions. So let's transform your maths to A+. You can be anything you want to be, as long as you believe in yourself and work hard. Okay, now all of these are construct in thinking skills. Both of remembering and understanding are lower order thinking skills, whereas applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating are higher order thinking skills. So this afternoon, we will only focus for higher order thinking skills. Okay. Let me give you an example for the construct of applying. Let's say students are asked to calculate the length of the field. For analyzing, students may ask to describe in full the transformation. For evaluating, students may ask to determine who is eligible to be selected and justify your answer. And for the creating, example is problem solving. Okay, now these are the syllabus from Form 1 until Form 5. For Form 1 and Form 2, there are 13 chapters respectively. For Form 3, there are 9 chapters, whereas in Form 4, there are 10 chapters, and in Form 5, there are 8 chapters. So altogether, there are 53 chapters from Form 1 until Form 5. So if you target A+ in SPM 2021, definitely you need to do revision in detail for all of these 53 chapters. But some of the students, they are still struggling and wondering how they start their revision since there are so many chapters here. Thus, I listed the 22 important topics here, so you may start your revision from all of these 22 chapters first. Okay, according to the percentage of hot items in examination by year 2021, there are 50% of the questions are hot questions. So let us scan through the format for both paper. For paper 1 and paper 2, there are written tests. In paper 1, students are asked to answer 40 objective questions within 1 hour and 30 marks, and the total scores are 40 marks. For paper 2, there are subjective limited responses and structural subjective. There are 3 sessions. For section A, there are 10 questions with 40 marks. For section B, there are 5 questions with 45 marks. And section B, in section C, there are 2 questions, but students only choose 1 question to be answered. Both questions are on the same level and 15 marks per question. The total scores for paper 2 are 100 marks, and duration of the test are 2 hours and 30 minutes. For the difficulty level for paper 1, low, medium, high with the ratio 6:2. For paper 2, the ratio for low, medium, high is 4:2. With this, the composite of the low, medium, and high for both paper are 5:3:2. For both papers, students are allowed to use a scientific calculator that cannot be programmed. For paper 2, students are allowed to use geometry tool as well. Okay, let us go through sample item for paper 1. So in answering paper 1, firstly, you need to be proficient in using scientific calculator, and you are advised to use time wisely, approximately. Okay, now example 1, this is the example for lower order thinking skills, but this afternoon we will not focus for lower order thinking skill, but I show to you that you need to proficient to use the calculator in getting the answer for this type of the questions. As different students, they use the different type of the calculator, so each type of the calculator of course has different button to calculate. Okay, so mainly the student will use type of this type of calculator that I shown it here. Okay, now we focus for the hot questions. Now, number 1, here are 2 events. A is a ticket wins the national lottery, and B is a fair coins lands on heads. So we look at the heads here. The heads means that the probability to get the head is 1/2. So 5 times, it means that 1/2 multiply 1/2 by 5 times. Okay, so when we multiply 1/2 by 5 times, we will get the answer 1/32. The probability of A happening, this is the probability of A, whereas this is the probability for B. Okay, so how many more times likely is B than A? It means that we need to find out probability B divided by probability of A. Okay, so we substitute the probability of B is 1/32 divided by the probability of A is 7.15 times 10 to the power of -8. Then we calculate by using calculator. You can get this answer. Okay. So since never stop here, since the questions ask you to give your answer in standard form to 2 significant figures. Okay, if 2 significant figure, I will give you an example. If you use a Casio FS570MS, after you get this answer from your calculator, you need to press more 5 times. Then you choose SCI, press 2. The calculator will ask you SCI 0 until 9. So you press 2 because the question requires in the question here two significant figures. So let us look through the calculator. If you use Cassia FS5570ES, you need to press the button Shift Setup, then you choose 7, press the button, choose SCI. Calculator will ask you SCI 0 until 9, so you press 2 because the question say that two significant figures. Same goes to the latest edition of calculator classway. You will use the different button that is Shift menu, which means setup, and you choose 3, which means number format, and followed by 2, which means SCI. After this, the question asks you to correct to two significant figures. So you press the button 2 and you will get the same answer, 4.4 times 10 to the power of 5. Number 2, Cik Amina works as a teacher. She earns Ringgit Malaysia 4,500 as her income. Cik Amina also has 2 houses which she rents out, each of them for Ringgit Malaysia 650 a month. She has, so now we know that the total, we will use this formula, cash flow equals to total income minus total expenses. Now, total income here, there are 2 sources of total income. The first one is from her salary, 4,500, and the second one from the rental of houses, which is 650 for a house, but she has 2 houses. So multiply by 2, then we sum out the total income. This is the total income. Then she has fixed expenses. Now, fixed expenses is Ringgit Malaysia 1,800 and variable expenses of 700 in a month. What is Cik Amina's monthly cash flow? As we know, cash flow equals to total income minus total expenses. This will not be given in SPM, will not be given in SPM. Okay, so now here we know that the total expenses, there are 2 types. The first type is the fixed expenses, which is 1,800, and the second type of the expenses is variable expenses, which is 700. Then we sum out both of the expenses here. Okay, now my total income minus total expenses, then we will get the answer 3,300. Number 3, find the duration of time in seconds of the uniform speed of the object. We know that uniform speed is the keyword here. So uniform speed means that constant speed. If constant speed means that the same speed. So now we observe the graph here. There are 2 parts of the graph here. The first part and the second part with the same speed means that this is the part of the graph. Okay, so we want to find the duration of time, means that 12 minus 5, we will get the answer 7. Number 4, which of the following graphs represents the function graph fs equals to s squared minus 2? So firstly, we look at the s squared here. We know that this is the shape of the graph is the smiling face. So either the answer is A or B. The impossible answer is C or D. So now, for the answer A and B, we know that on the x-axis, y must equals to 0. So now y actually is fs, y is fx, so we substitute fx equals to 0. 0 equals to a squared minus 2. So we move over negative 2 to left-hand side. And now we want to move the square, move over the square. What happens? It becomes s equals to plus minus square root of 2. So when we calculate, the value is plus minus 1.41. So definitely this is negative 1.41 and this one is 1.41. But for B, there is an answer for S only, that is S equals to negative 2. So we reject the answer B, we would choose answer A. Number 5, students. So we look at the students here. Who obtains score more than 2? If score more than 2 means that score are 3 and 4 will be given a prize. So these students will be given the prize. Given that the number of students who receive a prize, just now who receive a prize is 9 plus 21, it means that equals to 2 times the number of students who did not. Who did not means that who did not get the prize. Okay, so who did not get the prize are k plus 10. So now we expand the linear equation. We will get 2k plus 20, then move over 20. So we will get the value for k equals to 5. Okay, so the answer is A. Number 6, it is given that point P prime is the image of point P. So this P prime is the image of P. It means that P is the object. So now from object to image, the transformation here is the translation 5, negative 2. Okay. So now object, we know that object now is P. So, but we don't know the coordinate for P, so we define it as SY. And the image now from the graph, the image now is this one. The S coordinate is 7 and the Y coordinate is 5. So I write down 7, 5. Okay, now we compare the corresponding value here. So it means that S plus 5 equals to 7. With this, we will get S equals to 2. And now we compare the corresponding value for Y. So Y minus 2 equals to 5. Y equals to 7. So now we know that the coordinate for P is 2, 7. So we look at here, 2 and 7. 7 is here, so 2 and 7. Then the answer is D. Number 7, a bed. A bed, since a bed, so I draw a bed here, contains 5 red marbles. So 5 red marbles, 3 yellow marbles, 3 yellow marbles, and a number of, we don't know this number, so we define it as S. So S green marbles. A marble is picked at random from the bed. Given that the probability of picking a yellow marble is 1/6, so 1/6, find the probability of picking a marble that is not green. The keyword here is not green. If the marble is not green, means that either the marble is red or the marble is yellow. We know that the red marble is 5 and the yellow marble now is 3. So altogether, there are 8 marbles here. So just now 3 represent 1/6. So 8 represent what? So we can solve it by using cross multiplication. What equals to 8 times 1/6? divide by 3. So we will get the answer 4/9. Number 8. In diagram 1, NPQRSTUV is a regular octagon. Can you see the keyword here? Regular. If regular means that they have the same length for all of the sides here, and all the interior angle here are same. Okay. This is the meaning for regular. Okay. And MVW, and STW are straight lines. Find the value of x plus y. So firstly, we look at we know that this is the octagon, so we find out the sum of the angle of an octagon first. So we find out sum of interior angle of an octagon. If octagon means that x sides, so the sum of interior angle here is 1080. And secondly, we find out the interior angle is 1080 divide by 8. So we will get 135. It means that the interior angle here is all of the interior angle here are same. That is 135. So I label each of it is 135. Okay, now we look at the angle here. We know that this is the angle on a straight line. So this one basically is 180 minus 135 equals to 45. And this one same as well. This is the angle on a straight line. So this must be 180 minus 135 equals to 45. And we know that this is the angle of one whole term. So it means that 360 minus 135, we will get 225. Now we look at the polygon here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 sides. According to the formula number 1, if 4 sides means that sum of the interior angle, we will use this formula to calculate the sum of the interior angle is 360. So according to this polygon means that 45 plus 225, this is 225, plus this is 45, and then plus 3s must be equals to 360. So now we find out what is the value for 3s. We move over all of the number here. So we know that it's 360 minus 45 minus 45 minus 225. So 3s equals to 45. With this, we can find out x equals to 15. So I substitute here x equals to 15. Now we want to find out the value for y. We know that the sum of the interior angle here is 135. So let me define this one as A. If this one is A, means that this angle should be same, A. So this one I define as B. This one also B. So now we look at the polygon here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 sides means that sum of the interior angle equals to 4 minus 2 times 360. Times 180 equals to 360. So the total angle for this polygon is 135 plus 135 plus A equals to 360. So now A plus A is 2A. We move over the number to right hand side. So minus 135 minus 135. Then 2A equals to 90 degrees. A equals to 45 degree. Okay, After we get the value for A, we will get the value for B. Okay, we look at the polygon here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the 5 sides means that 5 minus 2 times 180, we will get 540. So the total angle in the sum of the interior angle here is B plus 135. There are 3 of the 135 here, so times 3 equals to 540. So B plus B is 2B. Move over the number. Okay, we will get 540 minus 3 times 135. And we've come the B equals to 67.5. So now, so now we know that y now equals to 135 degree minus 45 minus 67.5. So y equals to 22.5. So I substitute here 22.5. Then we sum out s and y. We will get the answer A. Number 9. Table below shows some values of variables w, s, and y such that w, so we write down accordingly. Okay, the question said that w, I write down w, varies directly means that varies directly as the square of s. Square of s means that s squared, so s squared, and inversely means that divide sy by y. Okay. So now we write down the equation actually equals to k(s) squared divided by y, which k is a constant. Now we use the information from the first row here. We use this information. Okay, information in the first row here. We substitute w equals to 40, k we don't know, s is 4, y is 2. So we calculate k equals to 5. With this, we substitute into the equations here. 5s squared divided by y. So now we will use the information from the second row here, which w equals to m, and then substitute s and y. So we get m equals to 45. The answer is C. Okay, now we proceed to paper 2. Okay, let us look at the sample item for paper 2. Before this, I need to emphasize that if your answer is in the fraction, you need to write in the simplest form. If your answer is in decimal, you need to write at least 2 decimal places or 4 significant figures. Okay, and then you need to write in the space given. Remember, space prepared is sufficient for the answer you write. Okay, we look at the paper 2 section A. There are 10 questions, but in this workshop, I give you 15 questions so that you can train more to get used to answer the question in part section A. Okay, the marks contributes in the section A are 40 marks. The range for each of the questions is 3 to 5 marks, and this is the limited response questions. Okay, now number 1. Diagram 1 shows a composite solid formed by a combination of a cube and a right prism. So this is the cube and this is the prism. So now we want to calculate the volume in meter cube of the composite solid. Firstly, we find out the volume for cube. We know that for the cube, the length and width and height must be same. So all of these must be same. It means that 1.5 cube. Then you can find out the volume for the cube. For the prism, we will use a formula given this formula given to you in SPM, you just use it. Okay, so volume of prism equals to area of cross section times height. This height means the height of the prism. So this is the height of the right prism. So we substitute this one is 1.5. And now we look at the area of cross section. Area of cross section here actually is the trapezium. So I draw the trapezium here. Okay. Now we look at the line here. This one, just now we know that the height of the cube is 1.5. So I substitute 1.5 here. And the length here is 3.25. So I write down 3.25. And now the height of the trapezium here, this is the height of the trapezium. All of this is 3 meters. And the length of the cube is 1.5. It means that the height of the trapezium now is 3 minus 1.5 equals to 1.5. So I've substituted 1.5 here. It means that area of the trapezium now is half times the total length of the both parallel line here times height 1.5. And remember, you must take into account the height of the prism here. So now you can find out the volume for prism. So we sum out volume for cube and prism. We sum out the volume for cube and prism, you will get this answer. You may write your answer to correct to 2 decimal places or 4 significant figures. Okay. Number 2, diagram 2 shows 2 parallel lines. Okay. The keyword here is 2 parallel lines. If parallel lines, what is the meaning for parallel lines? If parallel lines, it means that the gradient must be same. Okay. So it is given the equation of the straight line PQ. The straight line PQ, the equation is y equals to negative 2s plus 7. So if we look at the equation, something need to come out in your mind, y equals to ms plus c. Now we compare the gradient here. We know that the gradient is negative 2. Okay. So since the gradient of PQ equals to negative 2, it means that gradient for PR also equals to negative 2 because there are 2 parallel lines. So now the point given here, we define it as S and Y. Then we substitute into the general equation here. So Y is 7, the gradient is negative 2, S is 9 plus C. So we will get C equals to 25. With this, we substitute into the equation. Gradient is negative 2s plus C. This is the answer for A. Part B, state the S-intercept. If S-intercept, it means that Y must equals to 0. Okay, so we substitute Y equals to 0. Then we will get 2s equals to 25, then s equals to 12.5. This is the S-intercept. We write down S-intercept equals to 12.5. Number 3, state the converse. Converse, so this is the implication. We know that this is antecedent and this one is consequent. So if converse means that we will change the position of consequent and antecedent. So the converse is if m less than 12, then m less than 8. Okay, now hence state whether the converse is true or false. So now in order to determine whether the converse is true or false, if m less than 12 means that m equals to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and etc. If m less than 8 means that m equals to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and etc. Now we compare this one. Are they same? No, they are not same. So this one is the false converse. Okay, part B. Write down premise 2 to complete the following argument. The first step, you cancel the keyword if then. Then we compare the phrases in premise 1 and conclusion. We cancel the same phrases here. Now we look at the non-equal sign here. Non-equal sign. If non-equal sign, it means there is disclaimer. If disclaimer means that this is the argument form 3. So we refer to premise 2, the keyword here is not. So we add on the keyword here, not. So the final answer should be m is not the gradient of the straight line. This is the final answer. You will just write down here, premise 2. Number 4, Table 1 shows the movement of an object that moves between P and Q such that the distance of PQ is 35 meters. On the answer space, draw the distance time graph based on Table 1. Draw the graph. If draw the graph means that we need to plot the point here, 0, 0. So we plot the point here. 110, so 110. 220, 320, and 420, 535, 6 is 25, 6 is 25. Okay, now you need to use a ruler to draw the straight line here. Just use a ruler. Okay, so the graph should be like this, yeah? Okay. Now, part B, calculate the speed in meter per second. Be careful. The unit required here in the question is meter per second of the object in the first 2 minutes. If first 2 minutes means that time is here. So we will use the formula speed equals to distance divided by time. Distance here, we will find the final distance is 20 minus the initial distance is 0. So 20 unit here is meter. So we substitute 20 meter. For the time, the final time is 2 and the initial time is 0. So 2 minus 0 equals to 2. The unit here is minute. So we write down the unit here is minute. But never stop here and be careful with the unit in the questions. The unit requested here is meter per second. So we compare meter. Yes, it's daily. Second, but since this is minute, so minute change to second should be times 60. So 20 divided by 120 equals to 0.1667 meter per second. So students always make the common mistake. They just 20 divided by 2 or 10. The answer is 10. So they will get the wrong answer here. Okay. Number 5. Based on a survey in a school, 3/5 of the students go to school by school bus. So I jot down here 3/5 is by school bus. If 3/5 by school bus means that not by school bus means that is 1 minus 3/5, so equals to 2/5. Okay. If 3 students means that I draw the 3 column. Okay. All 3 of these students go to school by school bus. So the first student go to school by school bus. The second student go to school by school bus. And same goes to the third student go to school by school bus. So it means that the first one bypass and the second one bypass. Okay, so in probability, A means that times and O means that plus. So we substitute the probability just now, 3/5. A means that multiply, 3/5. A means that multiply. So you will get the answer 27/135. Okay, over 125. Okay, now the question said that at least one student went to school by school bus. If at least one student means that we can say that one student, or we can say that two students, or we can say that three students. So we may use the complement method. Complement method. If complement method means that the probability is S greater than or same to one student, greater than or equal to 1. So I may use the complement method, 1 minus the probability S equals to 0. What is the meaning for probability S equals to 0? Meaning that among 3 students, nobody go to school by school bus. So not by school bus, not by school bus, not by school bus. So multiply. Okay, so we substitute the probability is 2/5, 2/5, 2/5. Then we can write down 1 minus 2/5 times 2/5 times 2/5 equals to 1 minus 8 over 125. So we will get the final answer. Okay. Of course, some of the students will list one by one. It may be accepted also. Okay. Okay, number 6. The total means that plus mass of twice means that 2. What fixed mass? Okay, we don't know what fixed mass, so we define it as S. And A means that plus his brother college. We don't know the mass for his brother college, so we define it as Y. Is means that equals to 40. So we write down the first equation here, 2x plus y equals to 40. Okay, we label it as number 1. Now we continue. The mass of their father is 65, which is equal to means that equal to the total means that plus 3 times 3 of what fit. Just now we define what fit as S. A means that plus, twice means that 2 of his brother's mass. So just now we define his brother college is what? Okay, so we may write down the second equation. 3x plus 2y equals to 65. We define it as second equation. Now, calculate in kilogram the mass of Wafid and the mass of his brother. So just now we define mass of Wafid is S and mass of his brother is Y. So we want to find out S and Y. This is the topic of simultaneous linear equation. So from number 1 here, we will express Y in terms of S. So Y equals to 40. We move over 2s, so we label it as number 3. Now we substitute number 3 into number 2. So we substitute 3s plus 2y. We substitute with 40 minus 2s equals to 65. Now we expand the linear equation here. So 3s plus 8b minus 4s equals to 65. Okay, I continue here. So we gather the same terms here and we move over number 80 to right hand side. So negative s equals to negative 15. With this, s equals to 50. So s equals to 15 kilogram. Now we want to find out why we substitute into into number 3. So we will get y equals to 40 minus 2 is, all right, so it's 10. Y equals to 10 kg. Okay. Okay, this is the marking scheme. When you are able to write the first equation, the second equation, and the value of s and y. Number 7, given that matrix P and matrix Q, find the value of S. We want to find out S such that PQ equals to identity matrix. So if we write down like this, matrix P times inverse of matrix P actually equals to identity matrix. So if we compare this one, Q must equals to inverse of P. So we find out the inverse of P first. P inverse equals to 1 over determinant. So we substitute the determinant here. And then we exchange the position of the elements in the main diagonal. And we multiply others element with -1. So we will get the answer. We will get the answer. Okay, now we multiply 1/2 to each of the element in the matrix here. Okay, so we will get the answer of this one. Now we know that just now Q actually equals inverse of P. So Q here is equals to inverse P. So we compare the corresponding elements at the second row in the first column here. We will get S equals to -3/2. Now, write the following simultaneous linear equations as a matrix equation. So firstly, we write down in the matrix equation. Okay. So we factorize S and Y means that this one left, the coefficient for S is -1, coefficient for Y is -2, coefficient for S here 3, coefficient here +4, so we write down 4. Never forget this one, we write down here. When you write down when you change the matrix, when you write the simultaneous linear equations in the matrix equation, you will be given 1 mark. And the second mark will be given to you when you are able to find out the inverse matrix that we found out in A just now. This matrix, inverse matrix. So we just substitute here. I take it from A just now. Okay. Never forget this one. So if you write down this form, you will get 1 mark. And finally, you will find out S equals to Y equals to 1 mark, 1 mark. Okay. So this is the marking scheme. The first mark will be given to you when you write the simultaneous linear equations in the matrix equation. The second mark will be given to you when you're able to find the inverse matrix, and never forget this one. And the final marks will be given to you when you are able to find out S and Y respectively. Okay, now number 8. Basically, students encounter with the problems is when they cannot form the equation. If they can write down 2 equations, then they can follow the step just now. It's okay by them. Okay, write 2 equations. Linda purchased 8 cans of soybean. A means a plus. Y cans of orange drinks. The total means a plus. Number of canned drinks purchased is 8. So the total here is 8. Okay, so we can write down the first equation here, S plus Y equals to 8. The total price means that the price total is 17. But since the price per can is 2, there are X cans, so 2X. Price per can for orange is 2.5, so number of can is Y, so 2.5Y. So we may write down the second equation here. Okay, now the question same as just now. When you write down a simultaneous linear equation in the matrix form, you will be given 1 mark. And when you are able to find the inverse matrix, and never forget this one, you will be given 1 mark, and able to find out X and Y respectively, you will be given the marks. Okay. Same goes to this one, number 9. During the school sports day, students use coupons to buy food and drink. Ahmad and Lin spend Ringgit Malaysia 31 and Ringgit Malaysia 27 respectively. Ahmad bought 2 food coupons. Let us define food coupon as S. A means the plus. 5 drink coupons, we define drink coupons as Y. So link both 3 food coupons as N plus drink coupon is Y. So using the matrix method, calculate the price for food coupon just now is S, drink coupon is Y. So there are 2 persons here, Ahmad and Lim. For Ahmad, he bought 2 food coupons and 5 drinks coupon equals to he spent 31. And for Lim, he bought 3 food coupons and 1 drink coupon is equals to 27. So once you can transform all the mathematical sentence to the equation, definitely you can answer the questions. And the first mark will be given to you when you write the simultaneous linear equation in the matrix equation. The second mark will be given to you when you are able to find out the inverse matrix. And never forget this one, the final marks S and Y. Okay, now number 10. The table below shows the achievements of 2 pupils in 5 physics tests. One of the pupils will be selected to represent the school in a physics quiz competition. Determine who is eligible to be selected. These are the keywords. Eligible to be selected and justify your answer. If eligible to be selected, it means that firstly, we need to find out the mean, which is denoted by the S bar, mean for Ayman. We find out the mean for Ayman, then we find out the standard deviation for Ayman. Same goes to John. We will find out the mean for John, and followed by the standard deviation for John. Then we will compare the standard deviation of both of the students here. We compare. When we compare, the students who has the lower standard deviation will be selected. The justification of the answer is if lower standard deviation means that he or she has the consistent achievement. Okay, let me show you how to do it. Firstly, we find the mean. There are 2 students here, Ayman and John. So for Ayman, the mean is we sum out the marks for 5 of the quiz, then divide by the number of quiz, we get mean. And then for standard deviation, we sum up the square of the marks, divide by number of tests, minus mean square, then square root the answer, we will get this one. Same goes to John, we find out the mean and standard deviation. Now we compare the standard deviation. So now, of course, we choose the John. John will be selected because you see the standard deviation here is lower. So John will be selected to participate in the physics quiz competition. This is the justification. So the justification is the standard deviation of John's score is lower because John's achievement is more consistent. Number 11, Mr. Ben is an architect. He is required to prepare a plan for the construction of a swimming pool which is rectangular in shape. So the keyword here is rectangular. So I draw a rectangle here. Okay, given that the length of the pool, okay, this is the length of the pool is, it means that equals to 6 meter, more than means that plus is width. Okay, let us define this as width. So more than is width, we substitute here. And a length with 1 meter width, is built around the pool. So I draw a length with 1 meter width. This is the length with 1 meter width. Okay, 1 meter width. Same goes to here. Also 1 meter width and 1 meter width. Okay, now you just imagine that in the middle of the diagram here is the swimming pool. Around the swimming pool, there is a lane for people walking. So you just imagine like that. Okay, now the question say that if the area means that, let us define this one as S and this one as Y. Area means that S times Y equals to, including the adjacent length is 72. So it's 72. Find the length. So length means that this length is 6 plus W. So we substitute S here. S equals to length plus 1 plus 1. So length plus 1 plus 1. Now we know that length is 6 plus W. So 6 plus W plus 1 plus 1. So we will get, the answer is 8 plus W. So we substitute here 8 plus W. Multiply by Y. Y now equals to W plus 1 plus 1. So W plus 1 plus 1. It means that Y equals to W plus 2. So we substitute W plus 2 equals to 72. Now we expand it. 8 times W, 8W, and then 8 times 2, 16. W times W, W squared. W times 2, 2W equals to 72. Now we rearrange the quadratic equations here. W squared plus, we arrange the same like terms here. 10W plus 16 move over 72. Okay, now we simplify the quadratic equations here. We will get W squared plus 10W minus 56 equals to 0. Now we may use a calculator to get the answer. So do you know how to use a calculator to get the answer? You press mod and then you press equation, right? Key in the value for A, B, C. A now is 1, B is 10, C is negative 15. Negative 56, so W now equals to 4 from calculator, or W equals to negative 14. Okay, so for this one, we may write down the answer reversely. So if we write down the answer reversely, it means that we get W minus 4 and W plus 14. Now, the examiner will double check this one. Is it tally W times W, W squared? and then negative 4W plus 14W, 10W, yes, tally. And the last one, negative 4 times 14, is it tally? Yes, it's tally. So, but never stop here. Since the W is the width, it means that we will reject the negative answer and this is the acceptable answer. Okay, if you stop here, definitely your mark will be deduct 1 or 2 marks. So never forget, find the length. Now length is 6 plus W. So length is 6 plus W. So 6 plus 4 equals to 10 meter. Okay. Now we look at number 12. Diagram shows a circle in contact with the circumference of a semicircle centered at O. Using pi equals to 22/7, calculate the perimeter in centimeter of shaded region. Okay, so perimeter for the shaded region means that this is the perimeter, the first one. And the second one, this one. Okay, this is the second one. And the third one should be this one. Okay, the third one should be this one. So now number 1, we no need to find out because we just use the information given here, 14 centimeter. Number 2, since this is the semicircle, so we use half times 2 pi radius. So we substitute 2 pi is 22/7. The radius now, we know that this is the center, so this one is the radius. If this one radius, this one also radius, so 14 divided by 2, the radius equals to 7. So I substitute 7 here. It means that you will get 22 centimeter. Number 3 is the circle here. The circle here means that 2 pi r. Okay, 2 pi. Be careful, the radius here, we don't know the radius here, but we know the diameter here actually is same with this one. So we know that this diameter equals to 7. If diameter equals to 7, it means that the radius from the center to the side here is 7 divided by 2. So we substitute 7 divided by 2. We simplify it, then we get 22 centimeter as well. Now we sum out 1, 2, 3. Then we will get the perimeter 58 centimeter. This is the perimeter of shaded region. Number 13, table shows a set of data obtained from a study of 150 astro viewers. Venn diagram represents some of the information in the table. So complete the Venn diagram in the answer space with the number of news viewers only. New viewers only, we need to fill in this one. Then calculate the number of viewers who watch news or sports only. If news or sports only means that this part. So firstly, we find out this one, then we find out the shaded region. Okay, so we always start with the intersection here. So sports and news only. Sports and news only is 25. News and documentaries only is 12. News and documentaries only is 12. And documentaries only is 28. So documentaries only is 28. And now documentaries is 77. So this one should be 77 minus 28 minus 12 minus 20. So equals to 17. For the news is 75. So this part we can find out is 75 minus 12 minus 20 minus 25. We will get 18. So this part is 18. And the spots is 92. So this one should be 92 minus 25 minus 20 minus 17. We will get 30. Okay, now we want to find out number of viewers who watch news or sports only, means that this part. Okay. So we sum out 3 of these, we will get 73. Now, number 14. Mr. Chan had a total annual income of Ringgit Malaysia 52,770 in the year 2020. So this is the total income. He donated 300 to a government-approved charity organization. So if donation, all the donation is the tax exemption, but provided is the government-approved charity. The table below shows the tax relief claimed by Mr. Chan. So tax relief as listed here, the total is 20,500. Calculate the income tax payable by Mr. Chan for the particular year by taking into account the tax rebates if eligible. So tax rebates, remember tax rebates is 400 provided the chargeable income is less than or equals to 35,000. Okay, so firstly we need to find out the chargeable income, that is the total annual income. My total annual income minus tax exemption minus tax relief. So the chargeable income is Ringgit Malaysia 31,970. Okay, this table, this chargeable income table will be given to you in SPM. So we refer to the chargeable income here, 31,970 lies in the range of chargeable income as below. On the first 20,000 is 150, so he need to pay 150. And the next 15,000 means that we need to 31,970, we need to minus 20,000 first, then we will get 11,970. So this one need to times, this is times 3%, we will get 359 ringgit and 10 cents. But eligible rebate now is 400 because the chargeable income here is less than or equals to 35,000. So we need to minus 400 here. Okay, just now he need to pay 150 plus 359 and 10 cents, and then we need to minus eligible rebate, that is 400 because the chargeable income is less than or equal to 35,000. So income tax payable is 109 and 10 cents. Number 15, a solid aluminum cylinder. So I draw a solid aluminum cylinder with radius 3. And the height is 7, is melted to form a composite solid of cone here, and a hemisphere. This is the hemisphere. All right, the height of the cone the height of the cone, I draw the height of the cone here, is same as the height of the cylinder, same as the height of cylinder. And the radius of the cone, and the radius of the hemisphere are the same as the radius of cylinder. Okay, same with cylinder. So after the composite solid is formed, there is an excess volume of the melted aluminum. Calculate the excess volume. Okay, now firstly we calculate the volume for the cylinder. This is the volume for the cylinder equals to pi r square h. This will be given. Okay, so we substitute 22/7. The radius here is 3. H is 7. So we will get the answer 198. And secondly, we find the volume for the cone. We know that is 1/3 pi r square h. This one also given to you. So you just substitute it. Radius is 3. H is 7. So after this, we want to find out the hemisphere. This one not given. The formula is not given, but the formula for the volume of the sphere will be given to you is 4/3 pi r cubed. But since this is a hemisphere, volume for the hemisphere, we need to multiply by 1/2. So this one should be 2/3 pi cubed. So we substitute here 2/3 pi r cubed. So equals to 2/3 pi radius cube. Okay, so radius cube. So when we substitute, we sum out this volume is 1224/7. Then the excess volume is original volume minus the composite solid here. Then we will find the excess volume. Okay, now we proceed to section B. There are 5 questions with 45 marks. Each questions have 8 to 10 marks, and these are the structure question. Okay, number 1, determine whether the following points satisfy the correct inequalities. So firstly, the point given to us is 4, 2. We define it as s and y. Then we substitute into the equation. Okay, we substitute y with 2 and s with 4. Now we know that 2 is greater than 0. With this, 0.42 satisfy the inequality y greater than s minus 4. Excuse me. Number 2, the point given is 3, 5. We define it as s and y. So we substitute into the equation. Substitute s and y. Okay, so we know that 5 is greater than 2. With this, 0.35 satisfy the inequality y greater than negative 2s plus 8. Number 3, the point given to you is 2, 3. We define it as s and y, so we substitute into the equation here. Substitute y, substitute s. So this one is 4. With this, we know that 3 less than 4. So 2.23 satisfy the inequality y less than half s plus 3. Okay, now since we have the equation already, we need to draw the straight line, means that we need to choose the two of the values for S. For my student, I asked them to choose the value of S is 0 and 1. Okay, so of course you can choose other values, all will get the same answer. Okay, when S equals to 0, we substitute S is 0, so Y is -4. When S is 1, okay, we substitute 1. 1 minus 4 is -3. Okay, same goes to this one. For my student, I encourage them to choose 0 and 1 to make their life easier. So when S is 0, we substitute S with 0 here. So Y is 8. When S is 1, Y is 6. Same goes to this one. You choose two values of S. Let's say I choose 0 and 1. So for the Y here, we substitute 0, means that Y is 3. Substitute S with 1, means that 1 times half is 0.5 plus 3 is 3.5. Okay, now since we have 2 points already, then we can plot both of the points here and we can draw a straight line. Okay, so now 0, -4, 0, -4, I plot the point, and 1, -3, 1, -3. So I plot. Okay, I plot both of the points here, then I need to draw a straight line by using ruler. So now we look at the inequality sign here. Inequality sign now is greater than, it means that this is the dashed line. Then we use a ruler, we draw a straight line, and by using the dashed line to draw the straight line. Okay, number 2, 0, 8, 0, 8, 1, 6, 1, 6. Okay, so now we draw a straight line by using the dashed line because the inequality sign is greater than, means that we use a dashed line to draw the straight line. So we draw the straight dashed line here. Okay, number 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 1, 3.5, 1, 3.5. So we have 2 points, then we manage to draw a straight line. But now, since the inequality sign is less than, we still use a dashed line to draw the straight line. So we draw the straight line by using dashed line here. Okay, now after we draw the line, we want to shape the region. So we refer to this one. If Y greater than MS plus C, region must above the straight line. If Y less than MS plus C, means that region below the straight line. Okay, so now, first one, greater than means that region is above the straight line. So I draw the arrow above the straight line. Okay, now I change the color of my pen now. I change it to dark blue. Okay, for the second inequalities here. Okay, it's greater than, so greater than means that the region above the straight line. So I draw the dark blue arrow above the straight line. And now I change the color of my pen to the yellow one. Okay, so for the yellow one is less than means that region below the straight line. So below the straight line. So now we observe that the 3 colors of the arrow, for yellow arrow, red arrow, and the dark blue arrow, they gather in the middle of the graph here. So this is the shaded region. Okay. Later I change color of pencils. All right. So Definitely, still candidates in SPM cannot draw the graph using the software of GeoGebra. So, of course, you need to draw it manually, like what I do it here. Actually, same with just now. Only that you cannot use the software. You need to draw it manually. Then be careful. Drawing should be clear. Use 2B pencil. Line must clean. And the straight line is drawn using a dashed line because of the inequality sign less than or greater than. Okay, can you see all of the sign here? Okay, greater than, less than, so we use a dashed line. Okay, number 2, Table 4 shows the achievements of 2 students in 5 mathematics tests. Their mathematics teachers want to choose one of them to represent their class in a school mathematics quiz. So if this type of the questions if asked in the session A, of course it will not be asked in the session B, but we don't know specific questions that will be asked in session A or session B because starting from this year, there is no specific questions fixed for which session. Okay. So now part A, based on Sophia's achievement, calculate the mean mark. Okay. The mean mark denoted by the symbol S bar. So according to the table here, Sophia marks is 50. We sum up all the marks for Sophia. Then we divide by the number of tests here. There are 5 tests here. So you will get the mean mark for Sophia. Then we want to find out the variance for Sophia. Means that we square the marks and we sum up square of the marks here. Divide by the number of tests minus mean square. Okay, we will get the variance. Okay, now part B. Who deserves to represent the class in the quiz? Justify your choice based on the appropriate measure of dispersion. So now who deserves to represent means that firstly, we find out the mean for Sophia and standard deviation for Sophia. Just now we find out the mean already. Standard deviation is square root of variance just now. Okay, this one, yeah. Then same goes to army. We find the mean for army and we find the standard deviation for army. Then we compare. We compare this one. When we compare, we will choose the lower standard deviation for students to represent the class because the justification is the achievement is more consistent. Okay. So now we go through, okay, find out the mean standard deviation for both of the students. Then we compare the standard deviation. We know that the standard deviation for Amin is lower. So Amin will be selected for the mathematics quiz because the standard deviation of the score for Amin is lower because Amin's achievement is more consistent. Number 3, Diagram 1 shows 3 triangles PUV, PQT, and PRS drawn on a Cartesian plane. PQT is the image of PUV. So now PQT, we look at PQT here is the image of the PUV, means that this is the object. Okay. Under the transformation M from object to image, is transformation M, and PRS is the image. So this is the second image, and this is the first image. From the first image to second image, the transformation is N. Okay, so now we want to describe in full the transformation M. Okay, we look at transformation M here. When we compare both of the triangle PUV and PQT, we know that both of the triangles stay the same size and the same shape, but the triangle only turn. Okay, so in this case, we know that this is the rotation. If rotation, when you describe, you need to have CAD, which stands for center, angle, and direction. Okay, so the direction only need to write down when the angle is 90 degrees. Either you write down clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, so now we write down rotation. For my student, I will ask them to remember, since they learn AutoCAD, so I will ask them to remember CAD. Okay, so now center of rotation here, of course, is very obvious. The center of rotation is P. The triangle rotate at center P. So center P. And the angle is, we know that this one is the angle on a straight line. So angle should be 180 degree. If 180 degree, there is no difference between clockwise or anti-clockwise, so we no need to write down the direction. Okay. For the N, now we want to write down the N. N from first image to second image and undergoes the transformation N. So we know that this one from first image to the second image, it becomes bigger. So of course, this is the enlargement. If enlargement, you need to describe center and scale factor. For my student, I asked them to remember the CS mini market in Kuching. There are so many CS supermarket in Kuching. So they just remember CS, center, and scale factor. Now the center here is, okay, we look at the diagram here. From the center P, it becomes bigger. Okay, so center is P. And the scale factor, for the scale factor, we will use this formula that will be given to you, which is the length of the image. Image now is PR. We use the length here, PR, divide by PQ. Okay, we know that PR is 4 units, so I substitute 4 units. PQ is 2 units. Okay, so we will get the scale factor is 2. All right. So now part B, if the area of triangle PQT, now the area of triangle PQT here is, this one is 16. Calculate the area of trapezium QRST. So we know the area of trapezium QRST is the big triangle here, PRS, minus the shaded region here is 16. So the big triangle PRS here, we will use the formula number 4 here that will be given to you in SPM. This one will be given to you. Okay, so you just substitute the area of image here is K square K now is 2 squared times area of object. Just now because the same shape and the same size, so this one also 16. So times 16, the image here is 64. With this, 64 minus 16, we will get 48 meters squared. So you can write down the full sentence, but if you cannot write down the full sentence, never mind, you just write down the keyword here, rotation, angle, comma, angle is 180, center is P, okay? 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. So enlargement, you write down must correct spelling, and center P, 1 mark, scale factor, 1 mark, okay? If you cannot write down the full sentence, and you just write down comma, comma, 2, okay? Number 4, the diagram below shows part of the graph of the quadratic function. Okay, so I write down the quadratic function here. This is the quadratic function. We want to calculate the value of P, Q, and A. So firstly, we look at this one. This is on the x-axis. We know that if on the x-axis, y must equals to 0. So now y here actually is fs. So we substitute fs equals to 0 here. Okay, then we move over a to left-hand side, become 0 divided by a equals to s minus p, s minus q. So 0 divided by whatever number, of course, is 0. So now we may write down s minus p equals to 0 or s minus q equals to 0. From here, we know that S equals to P, S equals to Q. But we can see here S actually equals to 2, and this one S equals to 6. So we compare with this one. Then we will get P is 2, Q is 6. So P now is 2, Q equals to 6. Now we substitute into the original equation here. A s minus 2, s minus 6. So look at the point here. We look at the point here. The point here is on the y-axis. So on the y-axis, s is 0. So y is negative 12. Okay, so we substitute into s and fs, which fs is y. So we substitute into the equation here. S is 0. S is 0. Okay, then we move over 12. So a equals to negative 1. So a equals to negative 1. Now we want to write the quadratic equation of the function. We look at on the x-axis here, y is 0. So we substitute into y is 0. A is negative 1. We substitute into this equation. S minus P is 2. S minus Q is 6. So now we expand it s times s squared, s times 6, s times negative 6, negative 6s, negative 2 times s, negative 2s, negative 2 times negative 6 plus 12. So we rearrange and we simplify the like terms. All right. So we will get the answer 0 equals to negative x squared plus 8x minus 12. Okay, now we look at the part C now. Determine the equation of the axis of symmetry. If axis of symmetry means that S equals to what? So if axis of symmetry means that I draw the axis of symmetry in the middle of the graph. This is the axis symmetry. And the axis symmetry definitely will divide the graph into two equal parts. Okay. If two equal parts mean that this is 2, 6 in the middle, of course, is 4. So S equals to 4 is the axis of symmetry. All right, now we want to find out part D. State the coordinates of point R. R is on the x-axis. It means that R equals to 4 and Y we don't know. Okay, so now we want to find out the value for Y. We substitute into the original equation here. Fs equals to As minus Ps minus Q. Fs we substitute with Y. A just now is negative 1. S is 4. P just now is 2. S is 4. Q is 6. So Y equals to 4. With this, we get the answer R is 4, 4. All right. Now we proceed to the last part, section C of the paper 2. For paper 2, section C, there are 2 questions. You just need to answer a question with 15 marks. Only one stimulus per question means that only one story for each of the questions from A until B until C. Okay. Merge topics and theme, there are at least 2 fields with 2 forms. Okay, so both questions are with the same level. Okay, now I will give you 2 examples here. First one. Figure 16 shows a rectangular field. Express the field is managed by the Tharman Indah Jaya Residents Association. Given that the length of this field is 5s plus 20, so I write down the length here is 5s plus 20, and its width is s. This is the width. Part 1. Express the area of the field L meter square in terms of S. So we know that area L equals to length times width. So the length here is 5s plus 20 and the width here is S. So we expand it. We will get 5s squared plus 20s. Okay, now part 2. If the area of this field is 5,100, calculate the length of the field. We want to find the length of the field, which is 5s plus 20. Okay, so just now from part 1, the area is this one, 5s square plus 20s equals to the area 5,100. Okay, now we rearrange the quadratic equation here by moving over 5,100. Okay, now so we factorize the answer here. We will get the answer 30 from calculator and 34, negative 34. And now we write the answer reversely, s minus 30, s plus 34. But the examiner will double check this one, s times s squared. Is it tally? No, it's not tally, so your marks will be deducted. So if we want to make it tally, we need to simplify it by divide by 5. So we will get x squared plus 4x minus 1020 equals to 0. Now we double check, is it telling now x times x squared? Yes. Negative 30x plus 34x? Yes, tally. And negative 30 times 34? Yes, tally. Okay. But never stop here. Since x is the width, so we will reject the negative answer here. And this is the acceptable answer. And the question wants us to find, if you stop here, your marks definitely will be deducted 1 mark or 2 marks. So we need to continue to find out the length here. By substitute x equals to 30, the length equals to 5 times 30 plus 20. So equals to 170 meters. So I substitute here, the length is 170 and the width is 30. Okay. So part B, the association intends to install a fence around the field to prevent encroachment. Inchad Ali, Vice Chairman of the Taman Indah Jaya Residents Association, was assigned to get the price of fences from several shops around Taman Indah Jaya. Table 16 shows the prices obtained from 2 stores. Based on the appropriate calculations, that the store that offers the best price to minimize the purchase cost of the fence. So the keyword here is minimize the cost. Okay, firstly, I draw the field first. Just now from A, we know that the length is 170 meters and the width is 30. So I write down this is 170 meter. This is 30 meter. Okay, so firstly, we find out the perimeter of the field. Perimeter is 170 plus 170 plus 30 plus 30. So the perimeter here is 400 meters. For A, if 400 meters, the length, since the length per row is 80 meters, so we need to find out how many rows that we need to buy. We need to buy 5 rows. And the price per row is 640, means that we need to times 5 rows. Ringgit Malaysia, 3,200. If shop B means that 400 meters need to divide by 50, we will need to buy 8 rows. So times 8 equals to 4,000. So to minimize the cost, of course, we choose shop A. Now, the Taman Indah Jaya Residents Association has leased the field for various uses. As a result of renting the field for 3 years, the association has collected a total of 24,000. Means that this is the principal. This money will be kept in Bank Berjaya. The interest rate, okay, rate means that R offered by Bank Berjaya is 2.5%, means that 2.5 divided by 100, so we will get 0.025 per annum and compounding every 3 months. If every 3 months, since within a year there are 12 months, so we divide by every 3 months, means that the interest will be paid 4 times in a year. Okay, so it means that this one is number of times the interest is compounded is 4. Calculate the amount of money saved after 5 years. If after 5 years means that T equals to 5. So we substitute into the formula here. P is 24,000 1 plus the red just now is 0.025 divided by the n is 4, and then n times t. So you will get the answer. Number 2, the last question. Figure 16 shows two cylindrical jars containing marbles. Okay, so Harsha both two types of marbles. The price for a Chongkat marble, let's define Chongkat marble as S. And the aquarium decoration marble, let's say is Y. So a Chongkat marble is 20 cents. And the aquarium decoration marble is 30 cents. Alright, we want to form a linear equations represent the total. The total means that plus, okay? So 0.20x plus 0.30y equals to the amount spent is 30. Okay, express S in terms of Y means that we want to write down S in terms of means that equals to answer must be in Y. So 0.20S equals to, we move over 0.30Y. Okay, then we want to find out S, we divide by 0.20 and we will get the answer S equals to 30 minus 0.30y divided by 0.20. Okay, now given that the radius of a Chongkat marble, okay, let me draw Chongkat marble is 0.5 radius, and the radius and height of the both jar of P and Q, the radius are 3 and the height is 5. Calculate the volume of P. Volume of P is a cylinder, so use the formula given. 22/7, the radius, height is 5. So we will calculate the volume of the P jar, which is the cylinder, 141.43 centimeter cube. Okay, now if the excess base volume of jar P after being filled with marbles is this one, show that the number of marbles in P is 200 pieces. So firstly, we want to find out the volume that filled with marbles. If volume that filled with marbles means that original volume minus the excess volume, so we will get 104.76 centimeter cube. Now we want to find out the volume for a marble. Since a marble is sphere, so we will use a formula of sphere, 4/3 pi r cubed. So we substitute pi with 22/7, radius is 0.5 cube. So we will get the volume of our marble is 0.5238 centimeter cube. So now a marble has the volume 0.5238. We need to times the total marbles must be equal to the volume that filled with marble. So from here we will get the answer N is 2. Then we shown the answer already. Okay. Now Harsha selects 2 marbles randomly from the Q jar one by one without returning. Be careful, without returning to be arranged in the aquarium. Calculate the probability of Harsha obtain. Probability is P of red marble and blue marble. So for the total of the marble here is 45. So the red marble we know that is 12. So 12/45. And the blue marble is 20/. Since the first of the red marble take it out already, so it means that only left 44. So we can calculate the answer. Okay, part 2, accept yellow marble. Accept means that we may use a complement method. So if complement method means that 1 minus the probability to get the yellow marble. So 1 minus yellow marble, initially there are 13 yellow marble. And after we take out 1, become 12. 45 after take out 1 become 44. Then we can find the answer. Okay, part 3. Part 3. 2 marbles of the same color. If same color means that either is the red color, or I can say that either is the blue color, or I can say that is yellow color. So we substitute the red, initially 12 over 45. After take out 1 become 11 over 44. Okay, the blue marble, initially there are 20 over 45. Over 45. Okay, 20. Let me change first. Let me write down here. 20 over 45 times. After take out 1 become 19 over 44. And the yellow one is initially there are 13. Okay. After take out 1 yellow marble, it becomes 12 over 44. Then we can calculate the total of the probability here. And all of these are the mathematical formula that will be given in SPM. And bear in mind, you can use the calculator, the first until fourth calculator, whereas the fifth calculator is not allowed to be used, as it can be used to draw the graph. It means that this is the programming calculator. Okay, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Okay. As conclusion, you have to understand that okay, let me close my PowerPoint first. As conclusion, you have to understand that mathematics is a sequential subject, meaning that every question can be answered with the clear step-by-step process. Hence, it is important that you fully understand and not memorize the process and logic behind each mathematical concept. That is why you have to do topical papers and master each concept before moving on to full papers. I think that's all. Hopefully this workshop might give input to all SPM candidates and mathematics teachers. I hope that all SPM candidates will get excellent results and all mathematics teachers continue to excel in their careers. Thank you all, and I leave it to the moderator, Mr. Phyllis.
Thank you, Cikgu Kong Sintro, for her clear and wonderful session. We are happy to see that teachers and students are able to acquire the knowledge regarding the new format for SPM mathematics and some skills to answer some higher order thinking questions. However, we are sorry that some viewers experience blurred images, which is beyond our control. Now we will open the session to answer some questions from the audience, Cikgu Kong. So we will look at some of the questions from the students, please. First question for Muhammad Miza Ashad Kamis. For example 12, isn't the perimeter only the outside length? Why count the circumference of the circle inside too? Cikgu Kong?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Felix. And thank you for your question, Muhammad Miza Ashraf Khamis. Okay, for the question for to find the perimeter, there are two types of the questions. The first type, the question will ask you to find the perimeter of the whole diagram. The keyword is whole diagram. If whole diagram means that we need to find the perimeter around a shape, that is the total perimeter outside the diagram. For the second type of the questions, the question will ask us to find out the perimeter of the shaded region. If shaded region, we need to find the area that is shaded. Okay, I will share the screen so that you can understand better. Now, can you look at the screen here? Can you see my screen? Okay, let's say this is
Yes,
let's say this is if the question say that perimeter of the whole diagram means that we only find out the perimeter around a shape. That is the first part and the second part. But if the question say that not whole diagram now, if the question say that perimeter of the shaded region, so if shaded region, let's say here has the circle here, so shaded region here, it means that there are three parts of the perimeter, first, second, and the third part. So we sum out the perimeter. Okay, is it clear, my explanation?
Thank you, Cikgu Kong. That is very clear. Okay, next question. For section C, there are two questions. Do I need to answer all the questions or just answer one only? Will I get extra marks if I answer all the questions or I will be penalized? Cikgu Kong?
Thank you, Mr. Felix. Okay, for section C, you just answer a question only. If you answer both questions, you will not get extra marks or be penalized, but the highest score will be taken into account. It means that the examiner will mark both questions, but the higher marks will be given to you. Is it clear?
Okay, thank you, Cikgu Kong. As the time is a bit, is already past 4:30, we will give time for the last question, please. Okay, are we allowed to use MX method, Cikgu Kong?
Okay, yes, definitely, yes. You are allowed to use a math method. Whatever method you can use it, because in the marking scheme will be others solution. Okay, so yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you, Cikgu Kong. Okay, and there was one last question regarding the calculator. I think you have answered that in the slide, so we will not post that questions. Okay, thank you. So we have come with that. We have come to the end of our webinar for today. Thank you, Cikgu Kong. To all parents, teachers, and students, thank you for the time and attention contributed throughout the webinar conducted by a wonderful team. To our invited speaker, Cikgu Kong Sen Chua, thank you for making this session enjoyable and interesting. It is indeed our pleasure to have you with us. For all students, you can record your attendance to get an e-certificate of your attendance for this session are shown on the slides. Please fill up the information required in the attendance form in order to receive the e-certificate. For teachers, please, when you fill the form, please make sure you are using your ID dilemma to access the link given. You are given about 30 minutes before the links will be deactivated. So please fill in and complete the form. On behalf of the organizing committee, Sarawak State Education Department and Kuching Education District, I, Cikgu Felix Chua Sinting, SISC Plus PPD Kuching, would like to sign off to end the webinar session. Goodbye and stay safe. Fly, Kenyalam, fly. Fly high. Thank you, everyone.